Well, good evening. I'm your host, Robert Wilson, with Cowboy Wisdom Podcast. Tonight's presentation: why all my limitations, blockages, and barriers are mind made. In the Sonora Desert heat, and every barrier you feel is a mind forged shackle, a hallucination my archived mind built to keep me tamed, mundane, and stuck in the blame shame game. All went away today as I unleashed my ruthless clarity of the Sonora Desert authenticity. Hits me with a desert level ferocity. My limitations, blockages, and barriers were never real. They were mind made illusions built from emotional snapshots, emotional allegiances, inherited fear codes, and outdated interpretations, pretending to be the truth. Every barrier I ever felt was the mind replaying its archive. Every blockage is a memory masquerading as a boundary. Every limitation was a hallucination crafted by nervous system addiction to the familiar. The moment I stopped bowing to the mind's mythology, the entire illusion collapses and my sovereign frequencies of easy walks free. Why? My life is man made. Why my life is mind made? Because I experience reality through interpretations, never events. The mind narrates everything before I ever live it. I never meet life directly, I meet the mind's commentary about life. Every moment gets filtered through memory, meaning, labels, and emotional residue. In the Sonora high desert, clarity, it becomes obvious I'm never living life. I'm living the mind's version of it. My life is mind made because my identity, preferences, fears, and limits are built from past programming, never present moment authenticity. Who I think I am is a collage of parent programming, ancestor codes, cultural scripts, and emotional snapshots and emotional allegiances. None of it's me, it's inherited software running automatically. In the Sonora's feral frequencies, I feel the veracity my sovereign is a mental construct, not my essence. My life is mind made because every emotional reaction is triggered by stories the mind invents, never by what's actually happening. Fear, shame, doubt, anger, they never come from reality. They come from the mind's projecting meaning into the neutral events. The moment I drop into presence, the emotional storm evaporates because it was never authentic, only mind generated illusions. In the Sonora Desert, stillness is undeniable. The mind creates the world I suffer in. While you inherit your parents' programming and ancestor survival codes non-verbally. You inherit your parents' programming non-verbally because your nervous system absorbs your parents' emotional patterns long before language exists. Before you understand words, your body understands tones, tensions, fear, and scarcity, shame, urgency, and unspoken expectations. Your parents' nervous system broadcasts their unresolved programming, and your system mirrors it automatically. And now that I've read that, I can honestly say to the world, mine has. The Sonora's high desert clarity, it becomes obvious you never learn their beliefs, you absorb their frequencies. As you inherit ancestor survival codes non-verbally because your biology stores their their fear responses as instinct, never information. Your ancestors' survival strategies, vigilance, scarcity, distrust, self-silencing, silencing over responsibility gets passed down as automatic reflexes, never stories. These codes live in your body, never in your mind. The Mesa, the Sonora Desert stillness, you feel the veracity, your instincts are often ancient alarms, never present moment wisdom. Why my limitations, blockages, and barriers are mind-made illusions. My limitations are mind-made because they come from archived emotional snapshots, emotional allegiance, soul tattoos, heart effigies, never my present moment in wisdom. What feels like a barrier is really old emotional photography, parent programming, ancestral reflexes, and yesterday's interpretations replaying themselves. These mental archives shape reaction, choices, and identity until you rise of sovereign clarity. My blockages are mind-made because the comfort zone trains my nervous system to worship familiarity. I see that in my life, but now I can rise out of it. Every expansion, the comfort zone is a psychological fence built from survival mode reflexes. It convinces you that safety equals sameness, shrinking your lifestyle, creativity, and moneyed up outcomes. The blockage isn't real, it's a familiar pattern pretending to be authentic. Why anger is man-made, mind-made stagnation. Anger is mind-made stagnation because it's an archived mind throwing a tantrum to keep you trapped in yesterday's emotional cage. That is very, very real. Anger is never power. It's the mind replaying old snapshots, inherited fear codes, and parent program reflexes to freeze your frequency. It's a mental chokehold, never a sovereign signal. In the Sonora High Desert, clarity, you see anger for what it is. It's a mind's last-ditch effort to stop you from rising of intuitive presence and energetic liberation. Anger is mind-made stagnation because it's survival mode illusion, designed to block your intuitive wizardry and keep you obedient to the familiar. The mind uses anger as a freeze spell, a contraction that halts imagination, intuition, inspiration, innovation, and sovereign expansion. It's never veracity, it's programming. When you drop into embodied awareness, the anger evaporates because it never belonged to your becoming, only to your conditioning. In the Sonora Desert's expansive frequencies, anger is exposed as a mind-generated stall pattern, never a high-frequency response. Why emotional snapshots, emotional allegiance, soul tattoos, heart effigies are mind-made from your daily experiences, and they hit with unmistakable hellraiser resonance. Emotional snapshots, soul tattoos are mind-made because your mind turns daily experiences into permanent myths that never belong to your sovereign authenticity. Every look, tone, or moment in the Sonora gets frozen into a mental photograph the mind worships as authenticity. These snapshots become soul tattoos only because the mind keeps replaying them. They're never destiny, they're mental graffiti. You can wipe clean the moment you stop bowing to the archives. Emotional allegiances and heart effigies are mind made because their loyalty contracts with the old interpretations, never your intuitive intelligence. Your mind takes repeated emotional patterns and carves them into identity, turning yesterday's reaction into today's limits. These heart effigies feel sacred, but they're just mind-crafted moments built from daily misunderstandings. In the Sonora Desert, clarity you see, they dissolve the moment you stop feeding them. These emotional structures are mind-made because they're built from how you remember life, never how you actually experience life. Your mind edits, distorts, dramatizes, and protects, turning simple daily experiences into emotional relics. That's happened to me. Emotional snapshots and emotional allegiances and soul tattoos are nothing more than memory-based illusions pretending to be authentic. One breath of embodied awareness in the Sonora Desert and the whole structure collapses. Why change, heal, create, and transformation deepen mind-made constrictions. Change deepens mind-made constriction because the mind hijacks every upgrade and rebuilds the same cage with a fancier language. The moment you try to change the mind, slaps a fresh coat of paint on the same old prison. It calls it growth, yet it's just it's just redone limitations. In the Sonora Desert, frequencies you see, the scam, mind-driven change is the mind preserving itself under the disguise of evolution. Healing deepens constriction because the mind weaponizes your wounds to keep you orbiting the same emotional shrine. The mind loves healing because it keeps you inside the story. It turns your wounds into identity, your pain into personality, and your past into sacred museums. You're never allowed to leave. The Sonora Desert clarity hits healing because another form of obedience when the mind running the ritual keeps running the same outcomes. Creating and transforming deepen constriction because the mind can only remix its own fear-coded archives, never generates sovereign originality. When the mind is in charge, transformation is just yesterday wearing a costume. The mind never creates the future, it can only rearrange the past. The mind will never create the future, it can only rearrange the past. Sonora Desert authenticity exposes fresh creation doesn't come from mindset, it comes from presence. The only place the mind has zero jurisdiction. Why self-help, personal growth, self-improvement, therapy, and punctuated writings are mind-made boundaries. Even more self-help, personal growth, self-improvement, mind-made boundaries because they keep you worshiping a fictional broken self. And you've never broken, you've just undiscovered your authenticity. The mind invented you to keep obedience. Self-help and personal growth turn you into a lifelong repair project, a slave to the mind's narrative that you're never enough. Yet, in the Sonora Desert's veracity, you see the scam. The mind creates the wound, sells you the cure, and calls it progress. That's never liberation. That's psychological captivity dressed as evolutions. Self-help, personal growth, self-improvement boundaries, because therapy and improvement loops turn your emotional past into permanent prison the mind refuses to unlock. Every session, every breakthrough, every analysis keeps you orbiting the same emotional shrine. The mind loves this. It keeps you loyal to the archives, loyal to the wound, and loyal to the story. In the Sonora Desert's ruthless clarity, you feel it. Healing becomes a cage when the mind is the one holding the key. Their boundaries, their boundaries because punctuated teachings and improvement frameworks force your life into mental boxes that shrink your intuitive wildness. System step structured teachings feel safe, but they're just mind-made fences disguised as wisdom. Domesticate your intuition, tame your imagination, and flatten your sovereign frequencies into something manageable. And in the Sonora Desert voltage, the authenticity is the obvious. Your intuition never requires punctuation. Only the mind requires punctuation. Why immaturity and insecurities are mind-made illusions. Immaturity is a mind-made illusion because it's totally the mind comparing your now to an imaginary standard it invented from the past conditioning. Immaturity is never real. It's the mind measuring you against outdated emotional snapshots. Parental expectations and cultural scripts that you never agreed to. In the Sonora Desert clarity, you see, witness, and observe the scam. Immaturity is just the mind punishing you for not matching its fictional timeline. Insecurities are mind-made illusions because they're built from archived interpretations, never your present moment veracity. Every insecurity you ever felt is a memory echo, never a here and now signal. The mind replays old judgments, old comparisons, old emotional snapshots, then convinces you they're happening now. In the sonospheral frequency, you feel the authenticity. Insecurities are hallucination created by mind addicted to self-doubt. Both immaturity and insecurity are illusions because they collapse instantly when you stop thinking about yourself and return to the embodied presence. The moment you drop out of the mind's commentary, the entire structure disappears. Immaturity's gone, insecurity's gone. These states only exist when the mind narrates your life like a critic. In the Sonora Desert stillness, you see it clearly. The mind invents your flaws. Your mind invents the flaws, then worship it. Why people are locked and blocked in mind-made illusions. People stay locked because the mind turns old emotional snapshots into present-day nowality, trapping them in illusions built from yesterday. Most people are never responding to life. They're responding to archived interpretation their minds keeps replaying. That's what trauma and drama is. Trauma and drama is mind-made. These emotional snapshots become invisible cages, convincing them the past is still happening. In the Sonora Desert clarity, you see it. The lock isn't real. It's a memory pretending to be a boundary. People stay blocked because the mind confuses safety with sameness, turning familiar suffering into comfort zone. The mind would rather keep you small than let you step into the unknown and in the untamed world of your own talents. The mind calls fear intuition, calls stagnation stability, and calls old patterns identity. This is how people get blocked. The mind protects the prison because it built it. The mind protects your inner prison because the mind built it. People stay locked and blocked because the mind narrates their life like a critic, creating illusions that collapse the moment they collapse the moment you return to present moment. Every blockage is a story. Every limitation is a commentary. Every barrier is mental protection. The moment someone drops out of the mind's narration into embodied awareness, the entire illusion evaporates. So in the Sonora Desert stillness feels obvious as the mind invents the walls, then forget it built the walls. While all my thinking, knowing, and emotional enemies are mind-made illusions. All my thinking and knowing is a mind-made illusion because it's just the archived mind replaying old interpretations, never my sovereign wisdom expressing the revelations. Thoughts feel real only because the mind repeats them with authority, as every thought is stitched from memory, conditioning and emotional residue, never present moment wisdom and veracity. In the high Sonora Desert clarity, it becomes obvious my thinking is a loop of recycled interpretations, never a source of my wisdom. All my knowing is a mind-made illusion because it's built from past experiences pretending to predict the present. What I call knowing is really the mind defending its archives and assumptions, emotional snapshots, inherited beliefs, and outdated conclusions. This knowing feels solid, yet it's a fossil. The sonora frequency, I see the authenticity. My knowing is my mind protecting its past, never unveiling my future and here and now. All my emotional enemies are illusions because they're reactions to the stories the mind invented. Never threats in the present moment. Fear, shame, doubt, and insecurity, none of them came from reality. They come from my mind narrating my life like a hostile commentator. The moment I drop into presence, these enemies vanish because they were never real, only mind-generated shadows. In the Sonora Desert stillness, I feel it. The mind creates the enemy, then fights it, and embellishes effigies. Effigies are the figurines of the situation. Why indoctrinated education, third world enslaving mindsets, ancestor programming, and parent programming are mind-made programming. Indoctrinated education is mind-made programming because it trains you to obey inherited narratives instead of activating your sovereign intelligence. Schooling never teaches clarity, it teaches compliance. It conditions you to memorize, repeat, and confirm to systems built long before you were born. In the Sonora Desert clarity, you see the truth. Education programs the mind to stay inside someone else's blueprint, never your own. Third world enslaving mindsets and ancestor programming are mind-made because they're survival codes passed down as authenticity. Long after the danger is gone, your ancestors' fear, scarcity logic, and survival reflexes get stored in your emotional archives. As as if they're still relevant, and they never are. These codes are outdated. They're mind-made relics, never present moment wisdom, insight, and clarity. The sonorous frequencies, you feel it. You're living in a different world, but the mind is still running ancient software. How do you see that today? Parent programming is mind-made because it installs emotional reflexes and identity scripts before you ever choose who you are. Parents never program you, never program you intentionally. The mind absorbs their fears, beliefs, wounds, and limitations automatically. These become your authenticity, even though they're borrowed mental patterns. In the Mesa, in the Sonora Desert stillness, it becomes obvious. Parent programming is the mind narrating someone else's story, calling it your identity. Why indoctrinated education, third world. We gotta go. 9 points. Why energetic liberation, energized listening, maverick questions, autonomous expansion, politically incorrect inspiration, liberating lingo, cowboy wisdom, and outlaw optimism, expressing revolutionary revelations, rises you out of mind-made illusions, liberates you. Energetic liberation dissolves mind-made limits because it bypasses thinking and activates raw presence, the one place the mind has zero jurisdiction. The Sonora's high desert frequency amplifies this direct sovereign clarity. Energized listening frees you because it tunes you to intuitive acuity, destroying archived noise of inherited programming. You hearken what's authentic beyond what the mind rehearses. Maverick questioning shatters mind-made illusion because it refuses every inherited answer, forces the mind to expose its own fiction. A question with teeth is liberation. Autonomous expansion liberates you because it rises from intuition, dissolving approval, collapsing every mind-made boundary built from fear and conformity. Sonora Desert Horizon mirrors this limitless inner field. Politically incorrect inspiration frees you because it breaks the cultural obedience and dissolves the mind's fear of being unacceptable. Opens troublemaker magic. Liberation begins where social conditioning ends. Liberating lingo cuts through mind-made illusions because it now wires your internal colorful lingo from survival to sovereignty. Lingo becomes voltage, never vocabulary. Cowboy wisdom liberates you, awakens your free-flowing intuitive acumen, trusting your instinct, grit, and unfiltered clarity, the opposite of mind-made overthinking. And your Sonora Desert roots amplify this frontier wisdom, insight, and clarity. Outlaw optimism frees you because it refuses the man catastrophizing and chooses success scenarios without permission. It's optimism with fangs, never fantasy. Expressing revolutionary revelations rises you out of the mind-made limits, because expressing authentic acumen disrupts the mind's entire illusion, making machinery. Expression becomes the nowism, and the mind loses its throne. And what this is everything we've ever had in life has been mind-made. And that's something we've been attached to. So when you realize everything is mind-made, you can rise and understand. You're going to listen, question your way to sovereignty. Thank you. I am Robert Wilson, and may your life be as blessed as you are a blessing to me and the world.